Hi Stampers, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm on YouTube Live, so that's kind of exciting. And I'm Nancy. I'm a Stampin' Up! Creative coach. I make papers, paper crafts, items, projects, cards, and I use Stampin' Up! Products. And I like to share everything with you. So this week I'm doing a small series on a new stamp set called Curvy Celebrations, and I will have more details in the description below, but let's get started. I'm going to turn the camera around and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So Curvy Celebrations has two stamp sets, Quite Curvy and Curvy Christmas, and what everyone loves about this stamp set is that it's for all occasions and it's fun. It comes with dies that cut out all fun kind of shapes and curvy. So as you can see, it's got that fun little curve there, and it cuts out leaves, and these actually fit right over the stamps, so it makes it nice and easy to cut everything out. So today I thought we would make excuse me, a Christmas card that was very, very popular on my Pinterest page. Excuse me again. So I'm going to make this card, and it's this one here is on Balmy Blue and it's embossed in silver, and I'm going to make it just a little bit different. I'm going to make it on very vanilla, and I'm going to emboss it in gold. So let's get started. Again, if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and type them in. If you're watching me live, go ahead and say hi, and if you're watching on the replay, type in replay so I know you were here. Let me see if we have any live comments coming in. And the supplies you need for this card: very vanilla cardstock, that's 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it in the middle at 4 1/4. That's going to be my card base. I have a piece of gold foil that is cut to 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and I went ahead and I cut an oval out of this. That's going to be on the front of our card. Let me see if I can tell you really quick how big this oval is. This is from the Layering Oval Framelits, and this is the larger oval, and it is about 3 3/4 inches. So we have that. Then I have the card front, and that is very vanilla, and that is 5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. That's going to be our stamping piece. Then I have a scrap here that is a piece of Whisper White, and I already cut it out, but I want to give you the measurements. It's 5 inches by 1.5 inches. So again, whenever I use these dies, I like to use the curvy dies I'm talking about. I like to cut strips and then go ahead and cut my curve out. It's a lot easier if you have a set curve. You can always go a little bit wider. 5.5 is generally what I cut the lengths to, and I go anywhere from 1 1/4 inches up to 3 inches. And if you stick around to the end of my video, I will show you lots of other cards that I make. I have them stacked right over here, so hopefully I don't forget, and I'll show you them and I'll kind of go through them really quick. But again, cut your pieces in strips. 5.5 is the length, and anywhere from 1 1/4 to 3 inches is the width, depending on the card that you're designing. So I went ahead and I cut this out ahead of time. Another thing is I do save all my little scraps because you can use them on other cards. So that just breaks off like that. And for all these little dots, I'm just going to break them away, and it'll make all those little holes appear, which look really pretty on your card. Okay, so that piece is ready to go. So all we have to do now is a little bit of stamping, and it's going to be heat embossed. So this piece, when we're done, see, now I'm actually going to flip this over and I'm going to put it down here, but we're not there yet. So I'm going to bring in some Versamark, and I'm going to bring in some of the stamps from the Curvy Christmas stamp set. I'm going to use the trees, and I'm going to use the stars, and I'm going to use the sentiment Thinking of You at Christmas. So let me start with, first I'm going to put this down here, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my top sentiment. So this way I know where to place my trees and my stars to make sure I have enough room. So I'm just going to ink that up in Versamark, and I'm going to put this right at the top of my card. Okay, then I think I'll bring in the trees. And let me ink that up with the Versamark. So again, I will have details down in the description below of other videos that I've done with the Curvy Celebrations stamps. And I'll also have some products listed down there if you want to know what products I'm using. So I'm going to put this tree. I'm actually going to move the snow a little bit because I want the trees to come down. And you'll see how it's going to work when we're done. Okay, then I'm going to bring in the stars. Probably should be doing it this way. When you have a big old stamp, it's easier to put the ink to the stamp. Okay, so now I can just barely see that, but I can see it enough. And I'm going to decide which way I want my stars to go. And I'm going to do that. Okay, so now I'm going to heat emboss this. So I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of paper to catch all my gold embossing powder. I'm going to bring in the stamping embossing powder. It's gold, like I said. And just going to tap it off. If you want, you could just stamp your sentiment first and go ahead and emboss that. And then you could stamp the trees and emboss that, heat emboss it. You can do it one at a time. I'm going to see how this works doing all of them. Hopefully I have it lined up well, because we are actually going to cut that out. We're going to take an oval and we're going to cut that scene out. Okay, let's put this away. And I'm going to turn on my heat gun. It's going to get noisy there for a little bit. First I'm going to heat it up before I aim it at this so it doesn't blow away any of that loose powder until it's heated. Okay, I gotta tell you, I love embossing. It just really adds so much to your card, a lot of style and just the texture. It's really pretty. So now I'm going to bring in the smaller oval. Remember, we cut the larger oval out earlier. And let me bring this back in. The reason I cut it out of this was I'm going to use this as my matte piece. So instead of wasting all this the inside space, I can go ahead and cut that oval out too. So there we go, we have that, and I'm going to have, I don't want it in the center, I want it off to the side. So I'm actually going to line it up right there, and I'm going to go off to the side, off camera, and I'm going to cut that out really quick. So stick around, I'll be right back. I'm just right over here. This was the only thing I couldn't have done ahead of time because I wanted to show you how I'm doing it. I wanted to show you all the steps. So here, just gotta put my little machine together. So I kind of moved it a little bit because I wanted as much of the scene on this little oval as I could. So I kind of moved it right where I thought I have a good section of the trees and the stars. And then I want to mention one other thing before I put this all together. So this is going to be my matte piece. That gold is going to be my matte piece. And we're going to layer that on the card front like this. And it's fine just like that. But sometimes the gold, you know, with playing with it and moving it around and cutting with it, it gets kind of distorted and it gets a little crinkly or something. It's not bad, but I'm going to actually run this through the subtle embossing folder. So I'm going to go off camera one more time and run this through my embossing machine, my little cutting machine, and put a little bit of texture on there. That's going to hide any little flaws that we may see. So I will be right over here one more time. And just going to put this through. And oh yeah, that's really pretty. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so now we're going to put this together. So I'm going to go ahead and put my matte piece down, because that's a for sure thing. That's going there for sure. And I'm using Tombow glue. You can use snail, but I like to use the Tombow glue, especially with Christmas cards. I don't know, it just really, really sticks well. And plus I've got this foil on here, so I'm just going to center that on my card front. Then I'm going to bring this piece in, and I'm going to bring in my piece that I cut for the snow. And this is Whisper White on Very Vanilla. And I'm actually going to put it this way. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and lay that on my card front. So I'm just going to put glue right on the back. And stick that down. And I'm going to go ahead and put this on my card front. So we'll do that next. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and take this piece and I'm going to pop it up with dimensionals, and I'm going to put it on that gold piece there. I'm just looking at this gold piece really quick. You know what? Live TV, live videos. I think I'm going to make that oval, that gold oval, a little smaller. Let me see if I can find a smaller one, because I don't want it that big, because I want to make sure that I can see all that pretty background. It's so pretty. So let me see here. I think I'm going to use this one here. So let me tell you how big this one is. This one is about 3.5. That last one was 3.25. And like I said, I think that covers up too much of that pretty scenery. So let me go ahead and run this through the machine real quick. And I think this will turn out a little bit prettier. So now that's much better. Yeah, that first one was way too big. It took away all the pretty scenery. So let me put some dimensionals. And my cat Stella's in here with me. You can hear her. Okay, so I popped that up, but this one I'm going to go ahead and glue down. I don't want it popped up just in case you could peek underneath and see that little hole. Stella, I know. So I'm going to go ahead and put that right there, and it kind of pulls my scenery together. And then the last little thing I'm going to do is take a glue dot and add a bow. So I have this pretty ribbon with this gold trim. And I'm just going to put a little glue dot right on the back. And I'm going to put this off to the side over here. And I'm going to trim it down. Whoops, I'll make that bow pretty. There we go. Okay. I'll play with that bow a little bit more after, but oh, I like it. What do you think? So we have it in the balmy blue and the very vanilla with the gold embossing. So I don't know, which one do you like better? I think it's hard to pick. I think they're both pretty. So I do hope you liked them. Inside I am just going to, and I will do this off camera, I'm going to take two very vanilla pieces. One is slightly larger than the other. And I'm going to layer them both in there. And I'm going to go ahead and gold emboss a sentiment. And I'm going to use the other stamp that's in the Curvy Christmas that says, "May your days be merry and bright." So it'll be the same type of thing. I'm going to stamp it in Versamark and put the gold embossing powder on there and heat it up. And that's going to be the inside of my card. So I'm not going to forget to show you my samples, but I did want to mention again, I'm going to have more information in the description below. I will let you know of other videos. I'll have all my Curvy Celebrations series linked together, so you can go ahead and check out all the different cards that I'm making. And I will have links for products if you're interested in any of the products. But you can also go to my blog, www.stampinshout.com, and you can find information there. I'm going to turn the camera back around and show you some of the other cards that I've made. So this was one that we made yesterday. It's in my how-to video series. So this one was made with the plaid tidings. And I took a 3-inch piece of the plaid tiding paper, and I just cut that swirl in half, put part of it at the top and part of it at the bottom. So you'll definitely have to check out that video to see how I did it with the coordinating colors. Really easy. Same card, but I added a couple more of the trees and I added the moose. I love this one. I will also show you this one. This one in one of my videos. This one was just stamped, so I do like that. Not a lot of fussing, but look how pretty it turned out. And then I went ahead and stamped and punched out the cute snowman. And I also did it in Highland Heather and Coastal Cabana, I believe that is. So that's kind of a little bit different. And here is another one I made. This one was made with some scraps. This was before I decided or learned to use these dies with strips. I actually cut out a square, one of the square, and I did it right on the corner, so that's how I got that edge. Kind of lucked out in making this card. I like the way it turned out, but again, going forward, I've just been cutting strips and using those to make my cards. This was scraps left over, so I kind of put them all together, and then I heat embossed Mary and added a bow, and these sprigs are also in the coordinating dies. And this was my election day card. So I used the Pretty Designer Series paper, which I didn't talk about today. It's 6x6 paper, and it's called Classic Christmas. So it has cherry cobbler, shaded spruce, I can never remember that other color. I'm going to tell you what it is. It is Sahara Sand, and it's really pretty. So I use the just the different pieces, and here instead of the dots I use the die that cuts out the pretty little lace type look. So here's another one. I cut out strips. This is heat embossed in white, and then I colored, just kind of drew some lines on the trees to give it some color. This was an anniversary card for my husband. For 38 years we were married. We've been married. This one I absolutely love. This is my Valentine's Day card, and I made this with the Flowers for Every Season Designer Series paper, and I punched out a heart and put the pretty bow on there with that gorgeous dotted ribbon. And then this one, so these last few are all the same type of design, but look how different they are just by changing up the Designer Series paper. And this paper, I cut it out of a 3-inch strip, but the top I flipped over so it had the coordinating color, coordinating design. And then I went ahead and cut out the leaves and attached them, and cut out some birds and colored them in. So I made a birthday card. And this one, as you can see, it doesn't have the dots and it doesn't have that pretty lace. So these were extra pieces. This was an extra piece, and I laid it on top of some of that pretty Designer Series paper and stamped a sprig and cut out a little bird for a nice little red bird for Christmas. So again, here are the card. This is a card from today, and here is its mate in a different color. So that's it. Stay tuned. I'm going to have more live videos coming. I hope you like them. Go ahead and leave comments, share my videos. Don't forget to subscribe and click that little bell so you'll be notified